Okay guys, so before you start making soap, there are probably 3 really important safety things that you need to have. First of all, you need gloves. You're playing with a caustic ingredient, you're going to be mixing lye, you're going to be pouring lye into the oils to make the soap. You 100% need gloves. You also need goggles. Protect your eyes. These are disposable, however I've been using the same pair for months. They're fine. Just make sure you protect your eyes, because if a caustic substance possibly splashes up into your eyes, you could go blind. Also, while you're mixing your lye, most importantly, I don't really know if I don't use it throughout the rest of the process, but it does protect your face skin, so probably recommend it. Have a mask. This is just a Hello Kitty mask, but use the mask because while you're mixing the lye, it does get very, very fumy. Okay, so I'm back. I've got my gloves on, mask, goggles, all that. I'm going to use this ceramic teacup to measure my lye into before I tip it into my big pot, purely because I think that's much safer if you pre-measure it rather than tipping it straight into your water, because you're not going to get the amount wrong. If you tip too much in, you're going to have too much lye, and you're either going to have to make a new recipe or just throw it all out. You can't put too much lye in your soap. So put that on the scale. Hopefully they work. Right, now we're going to grab our caustic soda, and we are going to measure 141 grams. Okay, now we're going to take our container, which is plastic number 5. Look for the little triangle with the number 5 on the bottom of your plastic. That's the best one to use. It's not going to melt. It's the safest. Do not use glass to mix your lye. It can etch the glass. That can cause it to explode or leak. And then you're going to be trying to clean up a caustic substance, which I don't think anyone wants to be doing. So we're going to put that on there. We're going to put our water in first. Do not put your crystals in before your water. Water goes in first. Okay, so 300 grams of this. That doesn't matter if you go over or under. This has to be pretty precise, but with the water, if you put 5 grams, 10 grams, 20 grams, too much or too little, it's fine. Every soap maker uses a different amount based on their preferences and their skill level. So now you also need a spatula, because you have to mix this while the crystals go in, while it's hot, as they dissolve. This one is my lye spatula, that's why it's disgusting. Right, so tip your crystals in. This doesn't have to be done on the scale. And then give it a good stir. You'll see that it's gone really cloudy because it's now really, really hot. Just keep stirring it for a bit. Some people stir it until it goes clear. I don't, but you want to make sure that every crystal in there is dissolved. Also, do not be breathing in these fumes. Right. So that's already at 89 degrees Celsius. It's really hot. So you don't want to make soap while it's this hot, trust me. So what we're going to do, turn off the scale. The best thing to do now is leave this until tomorrow when it cools down, or many, many hours. I would want it to probably be at least 25 degrees, but preferably even lower. So pop it somewhere safe, pop a lid on it, and leave it until tomorrow, preferably. Okay, so now we're back with our bowl. This is what I'm going to make the soap in. It's also what I'm going to melt all the butters in. This is plastic number 5. Again, it's the best thing to use. So first thing I'm going to put in is cocoa butter because I've pre-measured it. It's really brittle, so I didn't want to be chopping it up on camera, but this is 100 grams. So we'll pop that in there. Next we're going to be putting in shea butter, which I've already mulched up because it's really hard to scoop. And I didn't want to be doing that on camera, so again we'll be putting 100 grams of shea butter in. Alright, let's just grab it. Potato scales. Don't be forgetful like me. So 65, 70, 83, 94, 99, 100. Perfect. Right, so next we're going to put 300 grams of coconut oil in. I haven't pre-measured this, but I buy it in bulk, so it's just easier to put it in here for video purposes. So you need 300 grams. So we're at 140. $230, $270, $288. Okay, so now you're going to take your 100 grams of shea butter, 100 grams of cocoa butter, and 300 grams of coconut oil. We're going to put them in the microwave, maybe for 2 minutes to start with, then an extra minute or so, depending on how much more melting it needs. Then I'd probably go 30-second bursts until this is all liquid. Once it's all liquid, we will bring it back in here, but we're going to let it come back to room temperature as much as it can before it solidifies, so it still needs to be liquid, but it really needs to cool down. Okay, so we're back and the oils are now liquid, very see-through. That's what you're looking for. They're still a bit warm. I'll just check where they're at. So they're 54 degrees. So yeah, they're quite warm. But I'll be putting olive oil and rice bran oil in them, and we'll bring the temperature down. Okay, so I'm going to put some olive oil. This is just Carbonell from Woolworths, I think, in them. We need 400 grams. So I'll just tip that in. If you're not very good at measuring with a steady hand, I would probably chip this into a different container and then combine it all at the end, because if you put too much in, you cannot take it back out. Almost there. There we go, 400 on the dot. We're going to put Alpha One rice bran oil in, or any brand, but rice bran. We're going to put 100 grams in. So pour slowly, because again, you do not want to put too much in. If you're not confident doing this, just pour it into a second container. 100. Okay, so that's gone to 103. That's okay. What I'm going to do now is just give it a slight mix, so that we can now see what the temperature's come down to. So now, just from adding the oils, we're at 35 degrees. So that's great. It's come down about 20 degrees. Okay, now we're going to measure out our fragrance. We're going to be putting 30 grams into this batch of soap because we're making a kilo of oil. So we're going to be doing a 3% fragrance load. Fragrance we're going to be using is Comforting, somewhere here. There we go. So yeah, we're just going to measure out 30 grams. And fill up. There we go, that's 30 exactly. So now we'll put this aside for when we make our batch of soap. Okay, so I'm back. It's actually the next day because while I was measuring all this yesterday, someone in the neighborhood decided it was a great idea to play blaring music for the rest of the night, which means I couldn't talk in a video. So now what we've got is our oils. They're as close to room temperature as they can be. My lye is now cold because it's been sitting here since last night, which is great. The colder the better. Warmth will really speed up how your soap works, so you want things to be cold. I have my colours sitting here with me. I have deep purple and zesty lemon. There we go. I have a spatula for each colour, spoons to measure the mica with. My fragrance is here. And a mold to make the soap in. I think you can get these from eBay or Amazon, or I have no idea. But they are the 1.2 kilo. And of course, you need a stick blender. This one is from Target. I think it was $29. Okay, first things first, make sure you have goggles on because you're going to be pouring your lye into your oils. If that splashes up and goes in your eye, it could lead to you going blind. I don't think anyone wants that. And that's the next thing we're actually going to do, is you're going to take your lye, you're going to very slowly tip it in here to avoid all splashes. This is not the best container to use. Tip it onto your spatula and then let it all fall in. I just scrape the remaining water out and we're done. So this is what it looks like right now. It's just still looks like oil. Now I'm going to put my stick blender in. I'm going to shake it a bit so that all the air bubbles come out. Mix it a little bit and then pulse. 1, 2, 3. Mix it a bit. Pulse again. Mix it a bit. I'll just show you. If you can see on top that there's a lot of oil separations, there's transparent parts, there's opaque parts. You don't want that. That's what you're trying to emulsify. So we'll do it again, give it a stir, pulse, give it a stir. I don't know if I can show. Yeah, you can see on the top here how there's some lines that are oily and then there's some lines that are more of a creamy color. You want to make sure that that's all the same color, very creamy looking. So keep going, give it another mix, give it another pulse. Then I mix it again without having the pulse on. Stir it some more. And I would say that we're there. So what you're looking for is now that that's all one sort of even color. You can't see any lines of oil, it's all emulsified. So now what we're going to do is split it into 2 different colors, which means I actually only need one pot. So carefully tip it. And that can be our yellow, and this will be our purple. So what I'm going to do is get a spoon of my zesty lemon. If I can open it, yep. And I'm just going to put that much, whatever that is, in there. Now I'm going to do the same for my dark purple. I'm going to get a big heaped spoon of this. And I'm going to put it in here. I might put a bit more. Now, because we're doing two colours, you want to do your lightest first. You don't want to go purple, yellow. We'll take our fragrance and we'll just tip half, not even half in, to the yellow, and the same to the purple. Bring your stick blender back in, and you want to put it over the powder and into the batter. Pulse it. Until it's all mixed. Now you want to do the same to purple again. Over the powder, push it through the batter. Now that you mixed, you want to grab your colour, take the spatula because it's always unmixed parts. Just give it a thorough blend. We'll do the same for the purple because, as you can see up here, this is soap batter that wasn't mixed through. And we'll move that. Right, now we're going to bring in our mould. I think today we're going to do a drop swirl. So what we're going to do is pour a lot of purple in, and then we will pour from a height the yellow batter, which will drop a swirl into the soap. So we'll start with purple. Pour quite a bit in. Maybe half fill the mould. And then we'll take our yellow, get rid of the spatula, and probably from about 20 centimeters, we will pour our yellow in, up and down. Might do a second round, up and down. Now I'm going to put some more purple in. I'll do a bit more yellow. And then we'll put the rest of the purple in. Now I'm going to grab my spatula, and we'll get as much as we can out. Also, just make sure you still got your goggles on, because this is the perfect time to accidentally flick soap batter up into your eye. that will do for that one. I'll do the same for the yellow. We'll just put what's left on the top here. And technically you are now done. You can leave that if you want it to be a flat bar of soap. I'll probably wait about 5 or 10 minutes and then I'll add some texture to the top. I just want to show you how you know that it's too early to texture, which is if we give this a wobble, you can see that the batter's moving. If the soap was firm, that wouldn't happen. Also, if you put the spoon in, see the shape doesn't really hold, it just falls straight back in. We need to wait for this to firm up, probably another 5 minutes before we can properly texture the top. Okay guys, so I've given it a little test run here. You can see that it does hold its shape. So we are now going to texture the top. What we're going to do is put the spoon in, push it over, spoon in, push it over, and just do this for the entire bar. And then I'll just wipe that off. We'll do the same back towards ourselves from the other side. Spoon in, push over, spoon in, push over. And there you go. Alright guys, here you go. We've just made a loaf of cold processed soap in comforting fragrance. We will come back tomorrow to cut this. I probably leave my bars about 18 hours. We might leave this one closer to 24, but I'll show you tomorrow how to tell if it's ready to be cut or not. Okay guys, so our soap is now nice and hard. It's ready to be cut. If you push on it, there is absolutely no give. I can't squish any of these peaks, which means we're ready to unmold it, cut it up, and let it cure. So the way that I unmold my soap is I just pull back the sides. If there's none sticking in here, you're good to go. If it sticks, it's probably still too soft. And then I peel back one end, the other end, and there's our loaf. So here's our loaf of soap. I'm personally going to use my wire cutter because I actually don't have any knives that aren't my good kitchen knives. But if you're at home, just use a knife. Completely fine, especially if it's your first loaf, because you'll just be using it personally. You can use whatever size you want. And now I'm just going to cut off the first. When you cut your first bar, you're probably not going to see the swells until you're a bit further in. But we'll just take the end off. There's a bit of a swell. And here is your first bar. And then what you'll want to do is just keep cutting through until you're all the way done. Let it sit on a shelf in a well ventilated area for probably, I'd say 6 weeks. It depends how much water you put in it, but basically the best way to do it is weigh your bars, keep weighing them, and when they stop losing weight, it means all the water's gone and they're cured.